we passed that, I could not believe that it became one way the way it is, because it requires Robin and I to go through that intersection like multiple times a day when otherwise we did not.
All right, let's see here. Hopefully everyone's back. Let me continue the recording, and we are streaming. So it is now what, 7:36. Sorry for the short delay. Our committee meetings went a little late, so we took a short break at 7:36, and we will call this April 26th council meeting to order, and we will start with prayer and pledge. Everyone join me in the Our Father. Our Father,
who
who art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come,
Thy will be done
on earth
on earth.
as it is
on
in
earth.
heaven.
Give us this day
Today,
our trespasses. We forgive
those
those
who trespass against us,
and lead us
not
into
temptation,
evil. Deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, the glory,
forever,
forever.
glory, forever.
Yep.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag of
the
the
United
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and justice
liberty
for all.
for all. All right. Roll call. Oops, I forgot to turn my camera back on. Sorry, guys. Roll call, please.
Cosgray,
Present.
Foreman,
Present.
Hamilton,
Present.
Hankinson,
Present.
Keller,
Present.
Curry.
Present.
All right, everyone's present. First item is the approval of the minutes from our April 12th meeting.
As foreman, everything looked good to me. I move we approve them as written.
All right.
Cosgray, second.
All right. Discussion on approval of the minutes. Hearing none, roll call.
Foreman,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Hankinson,
Absent.
Keller.
Yes.
What did Hankinson say? Did he say did he say abstain?
Yeah. All right. Minutes will be approved as written. Moving on to the agenda. There are 3 minor amendments we need tonight. First is the addition of 2021-13, which was the ordinance to amend the 2021 budgeted revenues and appropriations ordinance and declaration of an emergency. Sponsor on that is Foreman. That just came out of service. And then we need sponsors for 2021-11, which is the ordinance involving the Baltimore Festival Committee's use of the park for the festival, and 2021-12, which has to do with modification of the employee personnel policy book. And I think 2021-12 was discussed in rules at some point, was it not, Terry?
Yes.
Yes, and I'll sponsor that, Mayor.
Thank you, Chuck.
Okay. I'll add Keller for that. And
I can do
2021-11. Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. All right. So with those amendments, is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Keller moves that we approve the agenda as amended, adding in 3 ordinance, or sponsor them 3 ordinance.
Foreman seconds.
Right. Foreman seconds. Further discussion. Roll call.
Keller,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Hankinson.
Yes.
All right, we have an agenda. First item is visitors. Just so everyone knows, at the last council meeting, we of course had the discussion about opening up this Zoom meeting to visitors. The meeting information was posted to the village website under village news, as well as under the council page on that. so that the meeting information is out there. I realized today, and hopefully everybody got the email from Barb, and if not, you at least made it into the meeting, that the way we had the meeting set up with the passcode, anybody could join at any time, which meant 2 residents or people in other countries, if they had the meeting number and passcode, could join this meeting, even though it wasn't running on a Sunday afternoon, and they could have a meeting between themselves. So that changed so that if you guys now join prior to the host of the meeting starting it, you'll get a screen or an audio message that the meeting hasn't started yet. So if you get that, don't worry, it's supposed to be like that. That way there's no unauthorized use of these meetings. And that's my long way to intro to say we do have 1 visitor online. Kenny, I imagine it's probably Steve. If you have anything to say or comment, I'll give you a second to unmute or turn on your video. And if not, we'll move on.
We're fine, thank you.
All right. Thank you. In that case, we will move on. Moving on, village admin reports. We talked a little bit about it in service, about the stimulus funds. They're supposed to be being distributed in May. Terry's attending the webinar later this week on some of the calculations with that. So hopefully we'll have some concrete information relatively soon. The other big thing that kind of I've been trying to figure out how to get things going is our representative in Congress, in the House, Representative Stivers, announced that he is resigning to take a post with the Ohio Chamber of Commerce. I just saw today that Governor DeWine set the election for that, a special election, to be at our regular November election. So what that means is once Congressman Stivers resigns and before the next election, our representative seat will be open. I presume that all of his constituent services staff will remain for whoever might win that post in November. But I don't know yet. Again, his office has been a lot more responsive than either of the U.S. senators' offices with regards to trying to help us find stuff for water and trying to understand how it affects everything to help us not only find existing grants or information to help us with that, but also maybe crafting legislation that helps in the future. Like I said, I presume the staff stays, but I don't know yet. So I guess the next time I talk with them, hopefully soon, I will find out. Even if they stay, though, it does make it a little difficult if we have something that they can work on, but we need a little bit of pull because obviously that seat is open. So that is kind of through a run through some stuff. There was one other thing I forgot I was going to mention, and it'll pop in my head, so I will turn it over to Terry at the moment and just interrupt when the other thing I forgot to write down earlier pops in my head.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll move right on. I'm going to piggyback to what the mayor just said. Just before I started my service meeting tonight, I was in a census meeting. As you know, the census was to be out and to be released earlier this year, and then hadn't because they were quality checking it. So today they announced that Texas, this is just some information, I'll do this quickly, that there are 5 states that will gain 1 seat, and that's Colorado, Florida, Montana, North Carolina, and Oregon. But this is the part that affects us. There will be 7 states that will lose 1 seat each in the House of Representatives. Ohio is one of them. They have a line that they draw that says, okay, proportionally, if you don't make it above this line, you're going to lose. And it based on, you know, how many people leave the state, how many people come to the state, is all population based. And we were second down from that line. First down from that line was New York. New York lost the state over, guess how many residents not reporting? 89 residents. So I expect the census to be challenged. Again, we are losing a seat in the House of Representatives. And from what they're saying, that redistricting information that the president will be announcing will be ready on September 30th. And that will impact a couple of the districts. And I think, those are important because that's how we get all our funding for all of the OPWCs and CDBGs and et cetera. So I'm sure the mayor will have more on that, but this just happened at 5 o'clock today. Like you said, I'm going to a seminar for the American Rescue Plan Local Recovery Fund. Hopefully they had sent out a notification to all of us to make sure that we have our DUNS number and our SAMS number ready so that when the funds are distributed, we would be ready to accept those funds. So Brian's on top of that. Again, I hope that these funds are not as restrictive as the COVID funds were. If you remember, we couldn't use any of those for infrastructure. I think we're going to see a whole different ball game now. Hopefully we can use some of this money for water lines. We do have 2 water lines that we're putting in this year as a part of our projects, and maybe the 3rd if we get the small governments grant. But again, that will be council's decision. I'm sure the mayor will put together a proposal that present to council. And again, we have till 2024 to use the money, and we won't lose it. If you remember before, we had a very short time frame to turn around what we were using the money for, or they took it away from us. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out. I want to talk a little bit about vacant houses in the village. Vacant houses are popping up all over. Again, you've heard me use the word zombie, meaning there are houses that no one wants to claim to. We still have the 2 in the village, one on Mill and one on Main Street, that I cannot find ownership, meaning a bank has it in paper somewhere. The chief did accompany Tim to the 115 Mill Street today because we're getting reports from the neighbors that there are squatters in there. It seems like the back door was either open or, I don't know, chief, was it like kicked open or you could get in really easy? Is that what you guys found, I believe? But anyhow, we went ahead and boarded that up today. Again, that's one of those properties we don't know who has ownership of. There are 2 other properties in the village, one on Market Street, well, 2 on Market Street, which I do know who the owners are. And I'm working with those preservation companies to get those under control and to get them registered. So we're on top of that. I wanted to talk a little bit, I'm sure everybody saw the mess on West Market Street in front of 708. There was a force set out. What that means is that the owner of the property had went to the county and said, I want to evict these people. The bailiff goes with the property owner and they set out all of the people's possessions onto a curb, which we don't like in the villages, but they have legal rights, meaning the tenants that were there. The property must sit there at least 48 hours. This one become quite a mess over the weekend. I've been in contact with the new owner of that property. And if you go behest now, he tells me it is now cleaned up. So he did reach out to the bailiff. I'm sorry?
I was going to say, yeah, Terry, I drove by at 4 o'clock this afternoon. There was a dumpster in front. All the trash was in it, and it looked like there were guys securing the door back up.
Good. We had a little bit of a discussion because he said that it was 48 business day hours, and I said, from my previous past experience, I believe that is not true. It's 48 hours. So he called the bailiff and then called me right back and said, Terry, you're right. Let me get a dumpster. So he got right on it. I'm very happy with his response time, which was very quick. So while it was unsightly, he was well within the law that we had to leave it set there. So And the last thing I want to do, usually that when somebody has an anniversary, people congratulate them, but I'm reversing a little bit tonight because I have my 5-year anniversary this year. And I have to say that in my whole career, working career, I have never worked in a place that I felt more at home and had more support. I hope that you've seen a lot of good changes take place in the last 5 years, and hopefully we can continue with those in the future. So thank you very much for your support throughout the last 5 years. And that's all I have.
Can't believe it's been 5 years already.
I can't either. Brian had to remind me.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. It streamed out. What did you say?
I said, you reminded me, I've been here 5 years.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, Terry.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Terry?
Yes, on a sad note, I guess, or a bad note, there's a mattress there on Summer Choice back there behind the swimming pool, back behind the building, towards the building.
Yes, Chuck, I did receive a complaint on that. I have a picture and I'm ready to send a letter out the first thing in the morning when I get in. I have been working with Jeff with some issues in that area also, and probably for next council meeting, I'll have a report out. So thank you very much, Chuck, for that heads up.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody got anything else? All right. Brian.
I don't have anything.
All right. Jeff.
3 pieces of legislation, all for a first reading. The first 2 do not contain emergency language. The last one, 2021-13, does include emergency language per Brian's request. If anyone has any specific questions, I'm sure Brian will be happy to answer those. The only thing, other thing I would add is I would ask for a brief executive session after regular business to discuss land acquisition matters. And I would ask that the chief and the VA participate in that meeting, and the fiscal officer is more than welcome to participate also. And of course, all of council and mayor. And that's all I have.
All right. We will move on then. Committee reports, finance.
Okay, Mayor, our next meeting will be May the 10th at 6 o'clock.
All right. And service.
Yeah, we met tonight. We had a really good meeting. Most of the folks were there. Village administrator went over the water line projects and the wastewater treatment projects, as well as the street paving projects. And we have that piece of legislation regarding the pool, 2021-13, for funding more on the for the pool. And our next meeting is going to be the 24th of May at 6 o'clock.
All right. Moving on, safety.
Okay, we met this evening. Everybody was present. We are looking to find some money to fund a portable radar unit in a village, and that's about all I have.
All right. And rules. Well, rules hasn't met since the last time, so theirs will be the first Monday after finance. The date escapes me at the moment. Public safety reports. Chief.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a few little things. Again, we have 2 new part-time officers will be sworn in on Tuesday. At least that's the time we have them set for it this time. We are trying to address some concerns about speeding by stepping up the amount of activity or time that we're spending on speeding complaints. The we're going to have to look at a couple of the cars just from general maintenance, but they're holding up pretty well. So we're pretty happy about that. And I think all in all, the only other thing I would have to say is we're starting to see inside the village, we're seeing more aggressive behavior towards police officers than we've had in the past. So we've made sure all the officers are really watching what they're doing. So, and that's all I have.
All right, hey Chief, on the swearing in tomorrow night, it looks like I'll be on par for the 5 p.m. I talked to the other attorney in that trial, and he said, well, if the guy wants to plead, we'll get out of there quick. If he wants a trial, I don't know if I'll be ready to proceed tomorrow. So I'll let you know for sure, but it looks like I'll be able to make it at the beginning of your session with the guys instead of at the end.
Okay, that's outstanding. Thank you.
Yep. All right, anybody got any questions for Chief?
Yes, I do. Chief, there's a pickup truck there at Johnston Park. Been sitting there for quite a while. It's a white pickup.
Okay.
And also, I think I seen one your one of the patrolmen check it out, but I don't know if what become of it. But it had been sitting there for quite a while. And also, there's a pickup truck on Jefferson and Main. That house there on the southeast corner. It's been sitting there for a year or better. I've seen the grass underneath it getting pretty tall.
Are you talking about that like a 68 Chevy?
Yeah,
like
that
a light
white one.
blue and
Oh yeah, the light blue one. Yes.
yeah. That's actually off on well, we're looking into that. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
We're working on that right now.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Nothing else then. Moving on. Fire district.
Okay. Well, first off, our next meeting is going to be at Station 611 at 6:30, and that's the third Thursday of the month. It's just a one-time deal. They do it every year, and they're still working on the drainage up there at 611. It's their stormwater drainage, and they've been having backups, and now they think it might be hooked into the force main out front. So they got people trying to camera stuff and see where it's hooked in at. And they are still they're doing their insurance, not the health insurance, but the other insurance. And they've been trying to hook in with some other, entities, government entities, but being it's a fire department, they can't do that. So that's about all that's going on.
All right. Questions for Bob on fire district? All right, hearing none. Moving on, planning and zoning. Our next meeting is May 13th. That meeting will be a public hearing on some changes to the zoning code, some definition changes, and also changes to bed and breakfast short-term rental. That public hearing will be posted, and then the meeting information is also going to go up on the website because it'll be a Zoom meeting, so people have the Zoom access code, and we'll get that out there. Before we do that, Brian and Barb, since you're both listening, let me get the meeting set up so that when we post it, we can post the meeting information as well, so that it's obviously all there when it goes out to the 5 locations. I'll try to get that to you tomorrow so that we can get it posted. Again, it's not till May 13th, so we've got time, but we'll get it to you that way as soon as you guys are ready to post it. We can, and again, it'll be online as well. So, questions for planning and zoning? Oh, the other thing I should mention is online. We talked about this at the meeting, and Terry and I talked about it. The changes that are going to be made, we're going to post those online so that people can go on and download or see exactly what's changing prior to the meeting. So we'll get that up on the website here shortly. Hearing nothing else, we'll go on to Tree Commission.
A couple of things on trees. I had Steve go out. I had a couple of complaints from residents that the village had trees in their property that needed to be cut down, and in both cases they were healthy trees. One may not even be in our property. So again, Mr. Cothrell is helping us out when we do the evaluation of trees before we cut them down. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is Barb also put the Arbor Day flyer in your packet. That will be Sunday, May 2nd, and it'll be at the old firehouse. It looks like Cub Scout Pack 187 is going to be there in attendance also. So if you have a chance, May 2nd, 3 o'clock, Old Fire Station, Arbor Day. That's all I have.
All right. Questions for trees? If not, we'll go on to Records Commission. Hopefully, Jeff and Brian, I sent out the email this morning, the 29th is Thursday, 10 a.m. Still good in your schedules for a brief Records Commission meeting?
Yes.
I believe so. I didn't see that email, by the way, but I think so.
Okay. I'll resend it just in case. If it changed, let us know. Brian,
Okay.
If you could attach the reply and attach the RC schedule, because this meeting is just approving the documents for destruction. So if we get that ahead of time, it'll literally be a 5-minute meeting.
Right. Okay.
All right. Moving on then, motions, resolution, ordinances. Are there any motions?
I think
Anyone?
I think Jeff wanted an executive session, didn't he?
I
Yeah.
do, please.
I move, this is Keller, I move that we have an executive section meeting after business for land acquisition and all council. I think he said the chief, I think almost everybody to be there after the business session.
Yep. All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second that.
I think Mr. Hamilton got in there first. All right, motion and second for executive session, not subject to discussion. Roll call.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Hankinson,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Prairie.
Yes.
All right, we will have a brief executive session after regular business. Moving on, ordinances and resolutions, first readings. Resolution 2021-11, a resolution granting a special use agreement to the Baltimore Festival Committee for the use of various village facilities for the Baltimore Festival. Sponsor is Hamilton.
Yes. Mayor, it's the same one we do every year for the festival committee. It authorizes them to use Johnson's Park in that. And it can go for the full three readings.
All right, so we will leave that on then, and put it on. Sorry, I don't have the date of the next meeting in front of me. It's going to be May the 10th. All right, so it'll be on for second reading May 10th. Moving on, ordinance 2021-12, which is an ordinance amending chapter 240 of the Employee Manual of Personnel Policies and Regulations of the Baltimore Codified Ordinances. Sponsor on this one is Keller.
Okay, Mayor, this is for vacation for the employees where they can carry over up to 80 hours for the following year. Also, the vacation will start from January 1 to December 31st. I don't know if you need to pass it tonight, do you, Terry? I doubt it.
No, this is not an emergency.
I didn't think so, yep. So we'll have a second reading May the 10th.
All right, so we will leave this one on for May 10th. Next is ordinance 2021-13, which is an ordinance to amend the 2021 budgeted revenues and appropriation ordinance and the declaration of an emergency. Sponsor on this one is Foreman.
Yeah, this is to appropriate the funds to complete the renovations to the pool. And it does contain emergency language because we need to get the pool open by Memorial Day. So, yeah.
This one did go through committee.
Yes, this came from service?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So you just need a motion to bypass 3 readings.
I'd like to make a motion that we bypass the 3 readings and pass this as an emergency.
Great. Second.
All right. Discussion on, nope, that one doesn't get discussion. Roll call.
Sorry.
Brian?
Cosgray,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Hankinson,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
All right. 3 readings bypassed.
Motion to adopt.
Great. Second.
All right. Motion second. Discussion on motion to adopt. Hearing none. Roll call.
Foreman,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
Hankinson.
Yes.
All right. 2021-13 will be adopted. All right. Moving on. No second readings, no third readings, no tabled ordinances. So that gets us to old business, and we have at least one listed item as the Opera House windows.
And I reported that out in service, that Steve has sent me the
Okay.
information. I'm going out for an RFQ.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions on that? All right. Is
Thank
there any other old business? Hearing none, is there new business? Hearing none, do our visitors have anything before we break for executive session?
Doing good, thank you.
All right. So since we're going to have an executive session and we're virtual and broadcast, what I'm going to do is stop the web stream, stop the recording, kick all of the visitors off. So Steve, you could disconnect. If not, I'm going to kick you off in a minute. And then when we come, we'll go into and then we'll be in executive session. When we come back, if there is anything other than a motion to adjourn, I'll restart the recording and the live stream. But if it's just an adjournment, we'll just note the time to adjourn in the meeting. Is that sufficient, Jeff?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So then, having nothing else, I'm going to stop the recording and, well, I'll pause the recording.